Unhinged neighbor smashes my door in. Is she trying to rob me?
Nah, dude, she's just new to the neighborhood and wants to give you some cookies.
I really need you to take these cookies.
They're delicious and they're gonna go stale.
Take it! My kids and I moved into a house in March. Day 2 in my new house, I tripped over a broken paver. I didn't break anything, but I still needed surgery, a 3-night hospital stay, and a leg brace for 2 full weeks. Dang, that is awful. While I was in the hospital, my partner, formerly ex-partner, but now we've reconciled, it's complicated. My partner, Martin, my dad's sister, my bestie, and her wife had formed an emergency team. They kept my kids and pets safe and fed and finished the unpacking. Dad and Martin did a little garden work, removing the broken paver and laying out some old fence posts along the fence where the next door neighbor's dog was digging through. Week 1, I hobbled to the letterbox and met next door's landlord, who my partner has nicknamed the Bucket Woman.
The Bucket Woman.
Bucket Woman immediately told me to bring in my bins by 9 a.m. because it made the street look messy. How dare you defile my
Classic thing a
streets?
Bucket Woman would say.
I will keep my streets clean at any cost, including your life. She demanded that I move the posts because the grass would grow through her side. I explained the reason for the posts and said that once the holes were filled in, let me know and I would move them. And also, hello.
How do
Hi.
you do?
Still week 1 on bin day, 9:10 a.m. Bucket Woman bangs on my door. I'm still in my PJs and my leg brace. She was complaining about the bins. I said, my best friend is coming by later to help me get dressed. I couldn't do feet. I'll bring the bins in later. When my best friend pulled up, she had to park out front because my bins were in the driveway. I checked, the council bylaws don't have a deadline for bringing the bins in. So this is literally Bucket Lady just being like, you must bring them in right now, or I will cast a spell on you. Next, Martin got temporary approval for work at home at my place. I got home and Martin was escorting Bucket Woman off of the property.
No, Bucket Woman trespassed.
Bucket Woman thought nobody was home and tried to sneak in and move the posts. Guys.
You gotta applaud her for her dedication to the neighborhood cleanliness.
She has really taken one for the team. Martin said next time, he calls the police.
Yep. Yeah.
Throwing that bucket in jail.
Lady needs to kick her bucket.
Yeah, really. A few weeks ago, the police arrived. Martin was at work and said a concerned neighbor called about a man and a woman having a domestic dispute, and the man was destroying the fence. Wait a second. Is Bucket Woman really playing this 4D chess out here?
I think Bucket Woman's doing some false calls right now.
Bucket Woman is out front, watching. Once they're satisfied I'm okay and there's no damage, I explained about last week and I showed them security footage. Later, I see them speaking with Bucket Woman. She isn't happy and she goes inside. I was working nights and the police visit had taken up a lot of my precious sleeping time.
Bucket Woman is gonna get her revenge. If there's one thing I know about Bucket Woman is she'll do anything to make sure her streets are clean.
Even if I have to burn it to the ground and it's a nice flat clean ashes, I will have my way.
I was no one before I put on the bucket.
But now I live and die by the bucket. Now the penny has dropped. Bucket Woman just let herself in while the tenants were at work.
How does she do that?
She's Bucket Woman. She has super bucket powers.
Enough said.
So I spoke with the tenants and I was blunt. I asked them if they were okay with Bucket Woman being in the house while they were out and said I had seen her there at least once a week. In a nutshell, they were not okay with that.
Who could have guessed?
Later, one of the guys came around with a box of Chalkies.
Bucket Woman's arch nemesis. Boxman.
I'm here to close the lid on you, Bucket Lady.
The neighbors thanked me and said they were moving out right away.
Wow. Bucket Lady has powers, dude.
For real. Bucket Woman was furious at me. She says I made her tenants leave and got her in trouble with the rental agents too. She told me I made the street look messy and hang underwear on the washing line. So how will she get new tenants? What is her stupid?
A washing line is built for clothes.
It's the
What
services.
else are you gonna hang on the washing line?
Buckets. I wanted so badly to tell her to get off my lawn. And now we have some updates. Update 1. I just got off the phone with the council. Someone has complained that I removed a protected tree from my property. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. Update number 2, spoke to the council again. The complaint is definitely that the tree was removed. The tree is definitely still there and visible from the street.
Yeah, honestly, like I think that would make anyone pale.
The bucket puns are strong in this episode. The council is sending someone there to inspect the tree. Martin and I will be there armed with reports and photographs. I did a bit for democracy, and the nice neighbors from the other side were in the queue to vote ahead of me. They took their own photos of the storm damage to the tree, and OMG, it was scarier from their side of the fence. I've added the photos to the file. Next door didn't have any problems with Bucket Woman trespassing, but he's retired and she works from home. The bloke hates her guts and is happy to keep an eye on the backyard when we are out. Now there's a few relevant comments. Oh dear no, you hang your underwear on the washing line?
That's what I was saying. That's what it's built for.
Right? I was on your side until that part. You are literally Hitler now. How will anyone on the entire street ever get a tenant again? Laughing emoji. I know I'm a monster. Seriously, my washing line is lower than the height of the fence, so the only way that she can see when I'm hanging there, standing on a bucket. Yes. Oh my God, this woman is ridiculous. As sorry as I am that this is what you have to deal with next door, I really appreciate the funny stories. OP, I think if I don't turn her into a joke, I'd find her way more irritating and stressful. She point blank asked my partner if I am pregnant. He told her I was sensitive about my COVID kilos. By the way, I am pregnant and I checked the council website. I don't need a permit to construct a new human. Wow. On to the next update. So Bucket Woman has not learned her lesson. First thing we did was add more security cameras. So now most of the property is covered. And we are shocked to see how often she was coming onto our property and looking through our windows. Wow. This is just getting so much worse.
Dude, she needs a hobby.
I felt sick to my stomach. The reason she knows what's on my washing line is because she's coming into our yard and checking from there. Not gonna lie, I had a bad period where I just blamed myself for bringing everyone else in the household into this. We spoke to the kids and they find her annoying but not creepy, if that makes sense. We're checking in regularly with how they're coping. Martin hand-delivered a letter to the bucket lady telling her that she is not allowed onto our property. Any communication about neighborhood issues should be directed to my solicitor on a card attached to the letter. Since then, Martin has diligently checked the security footage and reported every instance of trespass on the police non-emergency line.
Wow.
I mean, you got to fight fire with fire at some point, right? Like, yeah. Good gravy.
But don't they have her like doing that? Like, wouldn't it like, don't they have her on camera? Isn't it easy to get her in trouble?
They do. I wonder why. I mean, you could probably like press charges.
Yeah,
you could probably do some stuff with that.
Press charges. Yeah,
it's a security, and they have a lot of it. A few days later, we had a visit from the police. The bucket woman rang 911 and said I had a dangerous dog, which attacked her. She claimed she was injured and getting away from the dog attack. The police came and checked our house and yard and didn't find a dangerous dog. They did find 2 house cats, a rabbit, and the disemboweled corpse of a catnip mouse. What? Oh, I guess that was it's like a toy that the cats ripped up. Okay, my goodness. The way OP described that, my God.
I'm like, that's intense.
This was not taken in for forensic evidence. Martin pulled the security footage. I've been asked not to describe it in detail, but I can't decide what was funnier, the footage itself or the sight of the police officer trying to keep a straight face. Also, if you do plan on trespassing on your neighbor's property and you startle easily, say an angry indoor cat, it's always quicker to run through an open gate than a closed one. Okay, I think I'm picking up what OP's putting down. Now to the petty revenge component. I remain a free woman. Little Cat is not declared a dangerous dog and gets her favorite tuna treats, lots of head pats, and a new catnip mouse. Martin gleefully adds another report of trespass on Bucket Woman, and she looks like an idiot. Our next step was to replace the old gate with something more secure. That led to more escalation from her side and more petty revenge on ours. But cutting off her access to the backyard still hasn't stopped Bucket Woman. Police reports, more blockades, nothing can stop Bucket Woman. We still find her in the front yard looking through our windows, including mine and Martin's, bedroom window. Martin has taken to spite cleaning the garage every time he sees her tracks. The fence posts lying along the shared fence have turned into our trash pile. Every time he catches her trespassing, he adds a bit more junk to the pile. It's probably driving her crazy, but there's nothing she can do.
Sheesh. Well, I'm glad that Bucket Lady is a little bit at bay, but she seems to be causing trouble still.
She's still at foot,
She's
causing evil.
Evil wherever her bucket lands. Dude, Bucket Lady, man.
Big bucket lady.
Big bucket energy.
But speaking of big buckets,
I got a big bucket of a story for you, Johnny boy.
Ooh, I'm excited. Let's do it. A protester was fighting climate change, so I got sweet revenge. But I can explain. I love destroying the planet. That is the explanation.
Yeah, I'm trying to pour oil into the children's drinking water.
This was a story from an overseas neighbor of mine. We met many years ago on IRC, an online chat. Both of us being computer nerds, Linux geeks at the time, and then things somehow clicked. We stayed in touch, and over time, our contact got much broader than just about Linux software.
How broad?
How broad? Soon, we talked about more personal stuff. Heck, last year we even video chatted, which was weird because even though we had known each other for many years, it was the first time getting to actually see each other. Winky face.
Wait, is there actually a winky face? Oh, so there's like some chemistry right here.
Put ICU in the comments if you see what's going on in these two lovebird
if you
nerds.
Hear and feel and smell these pheromones.
Oh, God. My friend also discovered Reddit and wanted this story out there. So he asked me if I was willing to write it, and I figured, why not? The point being, I have no reason to doubt this story.
Okay, so we got a true story on our hands.
The background. My friend runs his own private company, even has a few people on the payroll. And during the day of the incident, he had an important meeting with a potential customer of theirs. He and several other companies got invited to see what they could offer the client. And that day, one of them would be picked for the job at hand and thus gain a very lucrative contract.
Okay, so money's on the table.
Are you making a podcast and looking for the best podcasters in the game to make?
That's us.
Unfortunately, my friend got stuck in traffic due to climate activists and thus missed his meeting and his only chance
No way.
on securing this contract worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Needless to say that my friend was pissed off tremendously. Even though things were going pretty well for his company, there's still the issue of a recession going on. So yeah, within context, this was still a major setback for them.
Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The big deal.
Big bag.
He tried.
Bucket of money.
Oh, shout out to our last story.
Yeah, shout out to last story.
Bucket Lady
Bucket
feels like
Lady
she has no.
strikes again.
I mean,
in
she
this
has-
story, she transcends the story.
Yes, that's right.
She is all space and time.
The protesters, Bucket Lady.
Bucket Lady.
She found a new cause.
Dude, at least she could put her craziness to use.
Exactly. Do some good in the
do
world.
something help for at least for the climate.
Come
you know?
on.
Yeah.
He tried to contact the police to see if he could somehow file a report or protest against the actions, but that turned out to be fruitless. That evening, he decided to watch the news to learn more about these, quote, bloody eco-terrorists.
Eco-terrorists.
Man, my man's going in. He is salty.
Eco-terrorists. That's crazy.
He is saltier than the ocean's about to be when we lose all the water.
Well, actually, the water is probably going to be less salty because the polar ice caps will melt and there will be more fresh water in the ocean.
This was, by the way, also while he had one too many beers. That's when it happened. He recognized one of the roadblockers, a guy who lived in the same neighborhood 2 streets over.
Oh, he's going for blood.
Oh, it's over. At first, he figured he'd go pay the man a visit to discuss the errors of his ways, but that got immediately shut down by his wife. But he was still seething and scheming. The plot thickens. The next day, he made sure to print out the picture he had of the guy being involved with the road blocking and went to visit the guy's neighbors. Sure enough, they confirmed that the guy on the picture was most definitely the neighbor. This is like a stakeout operation over here.
Yeah.
Like, while he pretty much kept to himself, he was known to be pretty insufferable at times, especially when Mr. Entitled was too sure about being right for his own good. Public parking? Nah. Of course, the parking space in front of his house is his own and thus should be kept empty. Stuff like that. But the neighbors all agreed that this blocking of traffic was beyond entitled. They should teach him a lesson he wouldn't soon forget. And the next door neighbor, now part of the group, if we could only block him for a change.
Okay, so I see the seeds of the idea being planted.
Put ICU in the comments.
Eye for an eye, see you.
Mm-hmm. Another neighbor soon had a brilliant idea. They could, but it wouldn't be free, and the next door neighbor would also be somewhat inconvenienced. He didn't care about that at all, and thus the plan was set into motion. The revenge. See, this particular neighbor had a cousin working for a big construction company. So the group pooled money together. The neighbor contacted his cousin and explained what was going on, and they hired an industrial dumpster for 48 hours. After the cousin learned about the whole story, he talked things through with his boss, and lo and behold, this company also suffered from the protests, so they were quite motivated to help. I'm very curious to get you guys' take, but this one is kind of on the fence because they seem to be going a little OD on this guy doing
he's trying to help the environment.
You know, and like it wasn't like he like threw paint on people or you know, like they stopped the traffic. It is off. I don't know. A discussion for
John
the story.
supports the eco-terrorists.
The group of neighbors wouldn't be exclusively charged. Only the involved cost minus a very small fee due to taxes. A free priority delivery that very same afternoon. Sure enough, a huge deep loader made its way into the street. After contacting more neighbors, no one had any problems with moving their cars out of the way, and the dumpster/container was placed only a meter or so to spare, precisely in front of the neighbor's house, right at the front door, which opens towards the inside. This man is going to open his door and face a dumpster.
Hey, he caused it.
Dude.
He caused it. Why did you try to defend Mother Earth?
You want to clean trash up? We will deliver trash
we will
to your
drive
doorstep.
to your door.
In other words, it was sort of possible to enter and leave the house on your own if you squeeze through a bit, but that was basically it. This can't be legal, can it?
No.
You can't just drop a dumpster on someone's front lawn. This is the UK, I believe, also.
Maybe you can in the UK.
Maybe it is legal there.
This is why America rebelled, because everyone was just putting dumpsters in front of their
Just throwing
houses.
trash to and fro. The sidewalk was pretty much completely blocked off. This also blocked the front view of the next door neighbor, but he obviously couldn't care less, though his wife did protest a bit. Winky face. And then the group went across the street. They grabbed several folding chairs, a table, and sat down with plenty of beers and soda that were brought.
To watch this guy's misery?
This is kind of crazy. I'm getting less and less on board with this.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
This is too much.
the group had themselves a small party in anticipation of what would come next. You can't block me. That's illegal. As expected, later that afternoon, the neighbor got home wearing a huge backpack, and he was not happy to see this container in front of his house. When he spotted the group laughing at him, he went over there and was told that the company made a small mistake with the size of the container, but that he shouldn't worry, at least he could get inside this house still. Then the neighbor started protesting, as he does so well apparently, and said, "You can't block me, that's illegal." To which the group brought out pictures of him blocking traffic. "That's different," he said. Of course it was. So the guy called the police. Of course he would. But you know what the problem is if you contact the police almost every week to complain about non-issues, such as a car parking fully legally in front of your house on a public street. We have a boy who cried wolf situation.
Yeah.
It seems they'll lose their motivation to come out and help you or believe you because no police showed up that day despite him calling several times. Seething angry, the guy stormed inside. Well, he tried to, because he managed to get his backpack stuck between the house and the container, which obviously caused much cheering and laughing from the group.
I feel so bad for
God,
this dude.
these guys are kind of cruel. But Mr. Entitled did manage to get in after he took off his backpack the next day. This is hearsay. It was something my friend was told about, but didn't see for himself. The next day, the next door neighbor, the one living next to Mr. Entitled, got a visit from two police officers who had questions about the container. The neighbor briefly explained the bogus story about how the company shipped the wrong size container and how they would resolve the matter soon. You know, it'd be super crazy is if this completely backfired and the whole neighborhood was charged for like conspiracy.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, it's just like they all are taken to court by this guy.
And then they have to get another piece of revenge on Mr. Entitled. He also told the police officers that the neighbor across the street had handled the actual rental. So he and one of the officers went to visit that neighbor. This is the one with the cousin who actually arranged the whole dumpster situation. This neighbor told the officers that he and they had rented the container for 48 hours and showed them the papers for it. However, he kept official documents together with the photo of the neighbor. So when the police officer had looked at the receipt, he looked at the picture and suddenly too, he recognized the entitled neighbor. Now this is a convo between the officer and the guy who ordered the dumpster. Wait a second, this isn't your neighbor? The officer asks, to which they nodded. So you guys blocked a traffic blocker. The officer asked and burst out in laughter for a brief moment, but soon corrected himself. Just so we're clear, can you guys guarantee that this thing is gone tomorrow? He asked with a stern voice, to which we both said, yes. Okay, that'll do for now, but don't make us come back. And then the officer went back to his colleague.
So the officer is like, you did a good job.
Dude.
You did a good job.
Wow. Mr. Entitled, we know all we need here. We're going back to the station to file a report about this. We'll also contact the company which this container belongs to, and we'll tell them to remove this as soon as possible, the officer told entitled neighbor. I'm sure that we'll have it all cleared up by tomorrow. And they left. Mr. Entitled did call the police a few more times that day, but apparently it was told that the complaint was being processed. Mr. Entitled also didn't get any mail or packages that day because the moment the mailman walked up to his house, he did look at the door, but just decided to walk past. The next day, the construction company sent the deep loader again to pick up the dumpster, and that was the end of the story. Sort of. The pickup didn't go entirely smoothly because our neighbor refused to move his car for 10 to 15 minutes. Because when I'll park it, this moron is probably going to scold me as usual, he told the driver of the deep loader, with Mr. Entitled present, who he saw red with anger but couldn't really do much. But eventually, the container got removed. The two police officers came back later that day to check and also told both neighbors that they got an official warning not to pull something like this again, and that was the end of the story. Mr. Entitled was now officially known as Mr. Hypocrite in the neighborhood, and people started to openly mock him about his actions.
Dude, this guy can't catch a break.
We can't live out here.
But I mean, he doesn't deserve a break, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel bad that he's like trying to help the environment and getting all of this flack, but
I think there's something here. The guy eventually moved several months later because people just didn't like him anymore.
Wow. I mean, a speed run to make everyone in the world hate you is be an eco-terrorist.
Truly. Okay, so let's break it down here. So everything other than the protest, I give the neighbors a lot more like validity to doing what they did. Being as annoying as he was, although like all the stuff they mentioned didn't seem
crazy.
No,
like I think their reaction was maybe a little outsized.
Yeah.
But it might be that we're just not getting the magnitude of how many times he did little things. Because if the police officers hate you, all of the neighbors hate you, the mailman hates you, like you're doing something very consistently that everyone hates.
OP has only what he's seen and heard, but what about all the other times, all the other neighbors he doesn't talk to?
There's no way you've united the whole neighborhood and this guy isn't doing annoying shit every single day.
So this leads me to the big question of this story. Were OP and the neighbors
justified? Yeah, were they the a-hole?
Were they the a-holes?
Based on the story, I say yes. Based on the facts of the story. But based on my intuition and like inferring of how everyone reacted, I say no.
Yeah, right.
Based on the inferring and how everyone reacted, I say no. So like all the things that they mentioned, I don't think are a big enough deal to like create this kind of reaction of blocking this dude's house with a giant garbage can or dumpster, whatever. But the fact that everyone was united in hatred for this guy shows that he's doing something probably worth the hatred.
Like think about the first story, Bucket Lady. Like if they like put a dumpster so she couldn't like fix her fence or something like that, then we would kind of be like, yeah, she's literally like breaking and entering, going into houses, snooping. Like it's kind of like for a day.
Repeated like behavior, repeated small annoying behavior. Like you've put enough in the piggy bank of retaliation.
100%. I think there's definitely you could put up a good argument for either case in this
story. I want to know what
story.
all of y'all think. So put your answers in the comments. And I think with that, that's a wrap.
See you on the next one.
Yeah, and guys, I'm getting my colonoscopy tomorrow, so I can't eat, and I'm dying.
He's dying. So
I'm dying. I'm not hopefully literally dying. I'll find out if I'm dying after this exam.
Our boy Sam is gonna live. Put some hearts in the comments for our boy Sam. Send him a little love today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.